I started working with children when I was 17.
Okay. This is around the same time you were teaching us in Eastern.
No, that was in my 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was a really messed up, angry, screwed up teenager. And I remember years later when Jugan came and talked to me about her life and her anger. And I took her exactly to the same orphanage where I started and said, here. And it helped her the same way. I think sometimes people who need to be rescued, or who have been victims of abuse or trauma for many, many years, they fall into the role of rescuer to stop being a victim. It helps them. I was still being raped when I started working at the first orphanage that I worked at. So that all stopped at 19. But at 17, I started working with children. And I knew what it was like to feel neglected and unheard. Or I didn't even put two and two together at that time. But I just knew I was angry, I was lost. And I felt a lot of solace. How did I fall into this? I really was lost, and I went to the SOS village. And I started volunteering at the SOS village. And Dr. Suraya Anwar said to me, Ladki, you can take this to another place as well, because there's nobody else who goes there. It's the Missionaries of Charity, the Mother Teresa home. And because it's a Christian charity, it has less volunteers. And so I started working at the SOS and at the Missionaries of Charity, and then full-time Missionaries of Charity. I did the night shift there with in the baby room. And it was so healing. So healing. But this kind of healing is arzi. It's temporary. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't really heal you at your core, you know, because you have to do the work on yourself. And that happened much later for me. But I started working with children, and it was just, I felt good, I felt happy, I felt energized, I felt safe. And for me, that was a big word, because I didn't feel safe anywhere except with children or on stage. And that, and then I started working on TV when I was 26, 27, and again on camera. These are my safe spaces. Not interviews. Kirdar mein, because I was hiding behind a character. So when I'm acting, when I was acting, I felt safe. So that's it. I started working with kids, and it's been no looking back since then. A big turning point for me was Kasoor.
Okay.
When the Kasoor incidents happened.
This is the Zainab case you're talking about.
This is prior to the Zainab case.
Acha.
So prior to the Zainab case, there was the Kasoor scandals, in which horrible. Just the way media talks about our kids is just ridiculous. But this is when over 500, 600 cases were registered of children being raped in Kasoor, and actually there were far more.
ये बच्चाबाजी हो रही थी. This is the truck driver thing?
Not only बच्चाबाजी. No, this was a ring. The dark web was involved. Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Russia, politicians,
trafficking.
Police.
This is trafficking.
No, kids were raped at gunpoint. Brothers were made to rape their sisters. Boys were made to rape boys. Children were made to rape each other, and children were raped, all on camera. And then those videos were sold for a few rupees, you know, jitne bhi paise. And wo jo bacche the, their parents gave up everything they had, you know, to stop the blackmail. Don't put those videos out. And they still did. Kids from the age of 5 to the age of, 16, 17, hundreds and hundreds of kids were abused collectively in Kasoor. This was a few years before Zainab. And that is when I started going to Kasoor. And I used to go with for drama therapy with jumping castles. My job was not to talk about. The first time I went, the 16-year-old girl said to me, "Aap humse scandal ki baat nahi karengi," because the media would go up to the kids and say, "Aap batayein aapke saath kya hua."
Yeah.
You know, and
It's like live your trauma in front of us.
and also shame. Ki our Kunba, our town has there's so much shame that's been brought to this place, and we're only recognized by this fact and this horrible truth. And no, I said I'm here to jump with you guys and play with you guys and talk to you guys about आगे का क्या सोचा है, क्या करना है जिंदगी में. Then when they talked about their own experiences, I shared my experiences and I said लेकिन मैं माँ हूँ, मैं एक्टर हूँ, मैं टीचर हूँ, मैं वो नहीं हूँ जो मेरे साथ बचपन में हुआ था. ना वो मेरा कसूर था, ना वो मेरी शर्म है. मैं उस शर्म को क्यों ओढ़ के फिरूँ. It's easier when you tell a girl, dude, look at me. Do I look dirty to you? मैं गंदी लगती हूँ, मैं
You end up feeling dirty because of what happened to you?
Yes,
Is that what happens?
Yes, when you're raped, especially as a little girl, there's a lot of shame and there's a lot of dirt. And your parents' reactions, other people's reactions, the need to hide it, the need to park it, don't talk about it. You know, सबके साथ होता है. Yeah, there's a lot of, self-worth is fucked. Self-worth जो है वो बिल्कुल ख़त्म हो जाती है आपकी. और वो it took me up till just a few months ago, and I'm 49, to everything that I did was my 4-year-old child would come up a lot. She's here right now as well. I can feel her up here. And I'm trying really hard. I push her back and say, okay, 49-year-old woman, Nadia. There's this Nadia, who gets nervous and who's vulnerable. And then there's this Nadia, who takes that little child, puts her back where she belongs and says, this is the voice of a 49-year-old woman who, this is her body. She's in charge of it. And there is no shame. Instead of shame, what is there? There is pride. There is courage. And I've learned, I think NLP, which is something I did recently, I've learned, we call it above the line and below the line language. And instead of talking about what there is that I want to forget, what is there that I want? There's power, there's self-respect, there's confidence.
Yeah.
Pride. Pride is a big one because it's the opposite of shame. And there is a lot of shame. You just consider yourself dirty for a long time. And if you're raped as a child for many, many, many years, sexualization becomes something familiar. So you speak the language of, if you want to, if a partner is unwell or sad or unhappy, but my body can fix it. This act can fix it. If I am totally amazing in this particular area of my life, that will make that will please the other person. That will make, just like the little girl who's like trying to make the adult, don't hurt me. I'll do it. I'll do whatever you say. It takes a lot of time to change all that. There's an article that this amazing journalist wrote, I think for Herald Dawn, Akbar, I can't pronounce his last name, Akbar Nutsukoi. And it's about a town in Balochistan. Okay? Balochistan, there's this town called Shahrag, which is a town of coal miners.
Okay.
And in that article, it talks about how these coal miners do bachabazi with boys. Now, bachabazi is mainly with boys. With boys, yeah. So these coal miners have sex with these young boys, and they're talking very openly about it. But what's even more chilling is that the children, when they're interviewed, talk very openly about it. They talk about how, how when I grow up, I don't want to be a coal miner because they have to have different boys. I want to be a truck driver because a truck driver gets one kid. One kid. So for these kids, rape is normal. Bachabazi is normal. Ye to hona hi hai. Why not choose the best way of it? There's a A friend of mine, Mukarram, he did a program in which several brothels were shut down, and all the brothels, the sex workers, were little boys from the age of 9 to 16. And they used to take charas, marijuana, whatever, to numb the pain of rape. We live in a country where using a child's body for bazi, for pleasure, for game, is a cultural norm. We live in a country where begging is a norm. We live in a country where you and I will go out for dinner and a little child will be holding a tiny baby and knocking on our window, and we'll say, oh, khana khaoge, and we'll keep eating. That is a norm.
Yeah.
The disease in us, in all of us, to accept this as a norm. Imagine going to England or Switzerland or Austria or France, or and sitting down and a barefoot child coming up to you begging, and people saying, "Oh, let's give it a meal and let it move away." No, there would be an uproar. Yeah. Even a dog lying on the street causes an uproar.
Yeah,
we live in the third world.
Desensitized.
Not just desensitized. Desensitized to hota hai ki chalo, I'm not sensitive to this, but we allow it. That is a whole another level of sick.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care. Not only is this not affecting me, and look, surgeons need to be desensitized to a certain degree in order to, there's a certain level of detachment you require that's necessary for things to continue, for work to happen. Therapists are detached. But desensitized to this level where human life, human dignity doesn't exist. Zainab's body was found, on a trash heap. And she's one of thousands of kids. And I often say, my body didn't end up on a trash heap. Possibly because I was from a privileged background. And rape happens across the board. Boys and girls. Doesn't matter how much money anybody has in their bank balance. Now, and rape is not something new. Rape is something sadiyon purani. It's a sadiyon purana weapon to exert power.
Yeah.
Weapon of war. It's not something new. But surely in 2022, we should be beginning to think of how can we, A, lessen it, B, counsel kids who are raped, help them, heal them, so that they have options, so that they don't grow up to be psychopaths and sociopaths or wanting to kill themselves or have low self-esteem. Surely by this time, we should be asking those questions. And the thing that surprises me is that we're asking all the wrong questions all the time. We're looking for the wrong thing. This whole idea of leaders, instead of systems. Because a leader will die or move on or fail or succeed or whatever, but systems, who wants to set up systems? And for me, the most essential system is a system that will protect the dignity of children. And
so you wanted to cure society में जो मर्ज है जो जिसका आपको भी affect हुआ था.
मेरा ख्याल है I wanted to cure myself.
हाँ.
That was it. I wasn't looking. मैं कोई इतनी बड़ी मसीहा नहीं थी ना. ये बहुत ही खुदगर्ज एक काम था जो मैंने किया. मैं अपने लिए ये कर रही थी. मुझे इत्मीनान मिल रहा था. मुझे सुकून मिल रहा था. मेरे अंदर जो खलाएं थी, जो गुस्सा था, जो बेचैनी थी, उसको ठहराव मिल रहा था इस काम के ज़रिए. बहुत साल मैंने इस काम को ऐसे ही किया अपने लिए. फिर मैंने अपने आप पे काम किया. वो बहुत बाद में आया. कैंसर के बाद, डिप्रेशन के बाद, जो ड्रामेबाजी हुई. The build up of all those years of, sweeping things under the carpet until they blew up. फिर मैंने काम अपने आप पे शुरू किया, और अब जो मैं काम करती हूँ अपने लिए भी है, लेकिन now I can have that more detached, practical
approach to
it.
Yeah.
अभी वो 2 बच्चे थे जो आपने पढ़ा होगा, देखा होगा बकरा ईद पे मार के उर्दू इंग्लिश
सब कुछ,
एनीथिंग,
इट्स ऑल गुड.
सो दीज 2 चिल्ड्रन बकरा ईद पे उनको मार के एक तो कत्ल हो गया, 11 साल का जो था कमरान, और जो छोटा था 7 साल का मार के अस्पताल में पहुंचा दिया गया. क्योंकि वो अपने मालिक की फ्रिज से खाना चुरा रहे थे. डोमेस्टिक स्लेव्स इन डिफेंस फेज 3. That little boy, I got to work with him and I got to play with him. And the little boy who 2 months ago just saw his brother being beaten to death and was beaten to a pulp himself for wanting to eat. And I was able to work with him and play with him without allowing that trauma to fill me. But just thinking and watching him withdraw, watching what things trigger him, what things upset him, what things excite him, I was able to play with him more effectively. And I don't know.
It's a necessary, it seems like, I mean, I live in this sort of ignorant sort of place where I feel like, ignorance is bliss kehte hain na, so I feel like there's so much pain that I have to, just to protect myself, just not go to the news channels or pay attention to any of it. Yeah. But because I remember when I went to study abroad and I came back, when I saw the beggars, my empathy was alive. I hadn't desensitized myself then. And I would just look at all of them. And then it would just be so taxing on your emotional existence कि हर इंसान की दर्द आप खुद महसूस करें और identify करें उसके साथ. So it takes what, 6 months?
Yeah.
It slowly uses.
Yeah.
नहीं ये तो उनकी business है.
Yeah.
ये तो rig है एक पूरा.
Yeah.
You tell yourself stories, you build narratives,
yeah,
so that you don't feel bad about not empathizing.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like cowardice, I suppose.
No,
like,
it's not. I mean, it's survival, isn't it? I mean, you can't function at that level of emotional exhaustion.
Yeah.
But one thing that you can do is call, whenever you see a child begging, 1121 को आप फोन करके सिर्फ इतला कर दें, इस जगह यहाँ पे ये बच्चे भीख मांग रहे हैं, then it's on them कि वो करें ना करें. But legally, according to our constitution, every child needs to be in school by the age of 5. So when you see this happening, you can, and these children are taken to the protection bureaus. Sara Ahmed is a warrior. She's amazing. And there are warriors all over the country, in working individually. And we're very lucky that Sara's part of the government. And she's opened up हर जगह, Punjab, she works for Punjab, so Punjab में हर जगह bureaus उसने खोल दिए हैं. 1121 को आप phone करेंगे, and you can, if you want, pursue it. Okay, they're still begging, you haven't done anything about it. But I'm a big believer in God and Allah, and I mean, you don't, even if you don't believe in Allah, even if you are an atheist, you can still be a believer in energy and in goodness. Good. Yeah. And I think, for me, I really feel everybody's Siratul Mustaqim, everybody's path. There is what we're supposed to be doing as a collective, and then there is your path. Your path, maybe your path is to facilitate other people's stories and bring them to another person. And my path is to work with children, and in a different way. Each one of us has our own way of making the world a more livable place and vibrating at a level where we feel productive and good, and where we feel good.
There's some impact of your existence. आपका कोई मकसद भी है कम से कम जिंदगी में.
Not a blot, just farting away, eating away, and then dying.
Yeah.
So for everybody, it's different. For everyone, I think what you do is incredible, and every one of us is doing it in our own way. These children were my salvation for the longest time. And now I just want to understand. I don't want to be a rescuer, but I want to understand how and what can I do to facilitate the dignity of children in Pakistan and or anywhere in the world.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, like there's this show called Mindhunter. जिसके अंदर they've captured a point in time in a crime investigation where psychology is just entering. They didn't have psychology, so all they had was forensic evidence कि छुरा मिल गया, उसके ऊपर एक फिंगरप्रिंट है, धब्बा है, धब्बे का DNA देखेंगे, और तब शायद DNA भी नहीं था एक्चुअली, मगर they'll have fingerprints, right? But then they started going like, to find the serial killer, we need to understand his psychology so that we can figure out करें कि इसका जो बर्ताव है वो कौन सी नफ्सियाती कैफियत से ड्राइव हो रहा है, तो उससे शायद हम रिवर्स इंजीनियर कर सकें कि इसकी माँ ने इसको अब्यूज़ किया होगा, तो इस तरह के 4 हमारे पास अगर लोग हैं तो उसकी कौन सी माँ है जो उसको अब्यूज़ कर रही है. एंड व्हाट इट एंडेड अप लाइक शोइंग वाज कि इट्स अ साइकिल ऑफ वायलेंस. And in case of Kevin Spacey ka case where he was like, you know the Kevin Spacey case, right? He was molesting kids and raping them while he was in a position of great power, and they were watching him get Oscars and everything, and then being like, this guy raped me. His father used to abuse him, and his brother came out and उसने कहा कि वो वालिद साहब जो करते, now his sexualization is completely based off of. So how much of child psychology did you have to learn to
I've not learned any psychology at all. I mean, I think for me, I've just worked with children in the field for so many years now and observed them and listened to them. And I think, but I'm still not in a position to counsel them. I'm not in a position to give them therapy. So for me, it's very important to try and identify. Unfortunately, यहाँ पे mental health का इतना गंदा तरीन हाल है कि बच्चों का तो mental health तो बिल्कुल भी कोई सोचता भी नहीं है कि एक बच्चा अब्यूज़ हुआ है या बुली हुआ है तो उसको एक लाइफ कोच या काउंसलर या किसी तरह नहीं हमारा बच्चा ठीक है. इट्स दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंकिंग. आपका बच्चा बेशक ठीक हो, लेकिन हर एक को ज़िंदगी में ऊंच नीच का सामना करना पड़ता है. और जब आपको ठेस पहुंचती है, ट्रॉमा पहुंचता है, चाहे वो किसी भी धक्का मार दिया किसी ने स्कूल में आपको, it's okay for you to be able to talk to someone. And sometimes you have a cousin you can talk to, a family member you can talk to, and sometimes you don't. And sometimes it's the family member who's hurting you. And you wrote this to me even when we were talking in our DM. You said, even the predator, something to the effect of even the predator is coming from a place of pain. Everybody is. And the thing is, everybody does what they are doing in their mind. अपने लिए वो अच्छा कर रहा होता है. Even a rapist, अपने सुकून के लिए, अपनी तसल्ली के लिए वो कर रहा है. हर कोई अपनी तसल्ली के लिए काम कर रहा है. Everybody wants the best for themselves, right? Now, if there are patterns of abuse that are unchecked, then that is what's going to happen, and you're going to perpetuate that cycle. And the patterns of abuse are so layered in this society. I have a 1.5-year-old child who's teaching me boundaries. I've never learned boundaries. मैं हर एक को जाके छपी मार लेती हूँ, मैं हर एक को जाके प्यार कर लेती हूँ, मैं हर एक से हाथ मिला लेती हूँ, हर एक से. और जो मुझसे प्यार करना चाहे, हाँ ठीक है, बिल्कुल, I never say no. My 1.5-year-old is teaching me, I don't want this person to touch me. Foreign लोग देखते हैं, हाय कितनी प्यारी है, झपट जाते हैं, and she's like, stay away.
Genetically, that's almost genetic, because 1.5 year में आपकी क्या तरबियत कितनी होती है.
And it's interesting because my daughter is adopted. And we adopted her last year, and when we adopted her, she was completely blind. बिल्कुल नहीं देख सकती थी, and we didn't think she'd ever be able to see. ये तो अलग अलग एक मौजज़ा है कि just we thought she'd need cornea transplants by the age of 2, but one of her eyes is now 65% healed and the other one is on its way, and she may not even need the cornea transplants. She may need them still. Whatever it is, because we weren't even thinking she'd be able to see at all. And when I adopted her, you know, I knew she's got a really confident, feisty spirit, and that I'm going to protect. That's going to stay. She's going to be a confident, feisty chick who can't see from her eyes, whatever. But she can see now, and wo to apni boundaries ke bare mein, she's like, how, and the look she gives when people pounce on her, na? How dare you? Even, how could you even assume that you, who don't know me, could just come and touch me? I'm learning so much from her, and she takes her time. So she'll not even get off my lap in a new place, and then she'll slowly get off, and she will decide who she wants to come up to. If you try and shake her hand or come too close, she'll back off. And she'll give it to you. She'll screech. And I'm learning stuff that I should have been taught, or like you said, maybe it's genetic in her blood.
I mean, 1.5 years. What can you teach?
Yeah.
Within that time.
Yeah. But children, you know, a lot of babies have those boundaries. A lot of babies have this, and we force them. नहीं जाओ मामू को प्यार करो, बुरी बात है. क्यों भाई? क्यों? And yeah.
It's such a strange thing. I mean, इल्ज़ाम किस चीज़ पे लगाया जाए, उस फर्द पे लगाया जाए. Is he responsible / he, whoever's done the raping or the molestation? There's this Radio Lab episode. It's like a science podcast, and they have this one episode about blame. और उसमें blame के अंदर one thing that happens to this one guy is like he's got these epileptic seizures, and वो गाड़ी चला रहा होता है और उसको epileptic seizure होता है, and he ends up bashing against a tree. So these seizures are occurring more and more. So and the doctors have said कि अगर आपके seizures 1 महीने में 5 से ज़्यादा हो जाएंगे तो फिर हमें ज़रा थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा. And the doctors check it out. 5 seizures हो गए हैं, गाड़ी मार दी है ये वो, and he's married and very happy with this woman, and they have this musical relationship with this sing songs. He plays the piano, etc. So they go to the doctor, and the doctor's like कि यार lobotomy करनी पड़ेगी, आपकी brain का ये हिस्सा है, यहाँ पे कोई एक्टिविटी है, उसकी वजह से विल हैव टू रिमूव अ पार्ट ऑफ योर ब्रेन, बट दैट मीन्स कि आपकी म्यूजिकल सेंस शायद चली जाए. सो देयर द कपल्स रियली वरीड बिकॉज दैट्स व्हाट ब्रॉट देम टुगेदर, द म्यूजिक, प्लेइंग सॉन्ग्स टुगेदर. It runs in your family as well. There's a lot of music. Raki and me grew up playing music together. So, and I was like associating at this point, oh no, that, you know, me and my wife have music together as well.
Yeah.
So they lobotomize his brain. And they're like, she's waiting, like, she's like, is he going to play the piano? He plays the piano, he can sing. Amazing. Wow. They're happy. They go home. It gets dark now. They go home. 6 months later, he's arrested for watching child porn. What happened? They removed a part of his brain that had some sort of inhibition towards sexual urges. And so now this man, even the wife gives an interview in this, and they're anonymous in this, but the interviews are audio, so it doesn't matter, you can't tell who it is. And she says that after the lobotomy, he was very sexually active, matlab all the time in the kitchen, here, there, everywhere. So मैंने कहा चलो अच्छी बात है, I guess it's a good thing because I'm into him too.
Yeah.
But then this guy, he would sit on the computer and he would go porn site पे जाता था और उसको जो pop up आता था उसकी तरफ चला जाता था. And then he ended up in child porn and all these other places. And when he went there, because child porn is, like you were saying, that Kasoor incident, they're selling these videos. No, there's an industry of child porn there. Yeah. So if you're watching it, you're supporting that action. Yeah. So this guy got there and it's illegal, so they caught him. Now there's a whole court proceeding that takes place in which they're trying to figure out, you think it's the person, but when you put matter, like this is brain is matter. So is it the person or is it the brain? And now we can go like, if this part of the brain is missing, it's not his fault anymore. Yeah. So there's a whole proceeding that takes place, and in the end, the doctor says, you are responsible. And they prescribe chemical castration, which is for the injection, which what they did to Imitation Game. Alan Turing went through that. But that was like draconian psychology where they thought homosexuality was a disease. Yeah. So in this case, they go like chemical castration, so his sexual urges die, and they inject him with, I think, estrogen and remove things from his testicles, etc. But what the judge says is like, तुम जब ऑफिस में होते थे तो तुम वो बच्चों वाली चाइल्ड पोर्नोग्राफी नहीं देखते थे. जब घर में तुम, और ऑफिस में ऐसे बहुत से मोमेंट्स थे जहाँ पे तुम अकेले थे, और तुम नहीं देख रहे थे, तुम घर जाके देख लेते थे, तुम्हें पता था किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा, और जब तुम देख भी लेते थे तो तुम्हारे पे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थी कि तुम किसी को बताओ कि तुम्हारे साथ ये क्या हो रहा है, ये मसला हो रहा है, और अगर तुमने नहीं बताया तो तुम यू आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल। अब एक सोसाइटी, यू नो, आवर सोसाइटी बीमार सोसाइटी है हमारी, तो इस तरह की सोसाइटी में who do you blame? You blame the systems?
Yeah.
You blame the culture? You blame like बच्चाबाजी is almost a culture. Truck drivers?
अच्छा, इस लफ्ज़ blame को तो निकाल दो, निकाल दिया। क्यों ये लफ्ज़ इल्ज़ाम और blame, इसका फ़ायदा क्या है? इसका क्या फ़ायदा है? अगर समझो कि you know you're a truck driver and someone's a kid and you're raping the kid and I say तुम इसका कसूरवार हो, फ़ायदा, इससे क्या फ़ायदा हो रहा है? इससे मुआशरे को क्या फ़ायदा मिल रहा है? You know, इल्ज़ाम से या blame से। हल क्या है? हल क्या है? सबसे पहली बात तो ये है कि अकाउंटेबिलिटी बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है। वंस यूर एन एडल्ट, एंड आई स्ट्रांगली बिलीव दिस, यू नो, कि वरना हर सोशियोपैथ जो है, हर मैस मर्डरर जो है, वो ये कह सकता है कि भाई मेरा दिमाग सही नहीं है, ख़राब है। कहीं ना कहीं यू आर अकाउंटेबल। अगर आप बच्चे नहीं हो, अगर आप यू नो इफ़ यूर एन एडल्ट, बालिग एडल्ट हो, you are accountable for your mental state, you are accountable for your actions, and you are accountable for seeking help. मसला यहाँ पे है कि are you providing solutions? कि अगर मेरा mental state ख़राब है, क्या do I have help? यहाँ पे मैं किसके पास जाऊँ? और अगर मैं ट्रक ड्राइवर हूँ और कोल माइनर हूँ, जहाँ पे तो अमीर लोग जाके थेरेपिस्ट और काउंसलर के पास चले जाते हैं, और 6,000 रुपये 10,000 रुपये का एक सेशन होता है। अगर मैं ट्रक ड्राइवर हूँ और मैं कोल माइनर हूँ, या यू नो मैं एक बच्चा हूँ जो कि जिसके साथ मुसलसल ये होता रहा है, अब मैं 30 साल का आदमी हो गया हूँ, डू आई इवन नो कि आई कैन गो समवेयर फॉर हेल्प? डू आई इवन नो आई नीड हेल्प? तो इल्ज़ाम दिलाना, इससे मुआशरे को कोई फ़ायदा नहीं मिलेगा। आई थिंक आई वुड सजेस्ट chemical castration to a person who is not taking accountability for their actions because I want to protect children. Simple. In case, you know, but thank God I'm not a judge. That's why I'm not a judge. Because I'm thinking emotionally. I'm not
Law is all about blame and ilzam.
Yeah. And I'm not thinking right now. I'm just saying this, and मैंने बड़े बोल दिए हैं because I'm thinking emotionally. Judges are not supposed to think emotionally. They're supposed to whatever way I can't do that. I can't detach to that level. लेकिन इल्ज़ाम नहीं है. I think what law does is also law decides who did not respect that accountability. It's not about ilzam. It's about, I think law also does, it holds you accountable.
Yeah.
That you're accountable for your actions. And you are accountable for your actions as an adult. And maybe the person who raped me the first time was sad or depressed or whatever, you know. That does not mean he could do what he did to me. I was 4 years old. I was a little girl. And, but the problem is, illiteracy and unaccountability, when these two things meet. Because when you are not taught, जब आपके शऊर को जगाया ही नहीं जाता, and when you live at this really animalistic level of need, I need food, I need water, I need I have this raging urge to hit or rape, or it's all coming from a really base animalistic, most fundamental, because आपके शऊर को खींचा नहीं गया ना, पढ़ाया नहीं गया, मोल्ड नहीं किया गया. It all comes down to literacy, and then the kind of literacy. Yeah. Not दो तीन साइंस में ये है वो है. No. So I think in our schools, are we raising individuals जो सोचते हैं? जो अपने आप को अकाउंटेबल रखेंगे, कूड़ा फेंक दो, यहाँ थूक दो, फलां को धक्का मार दो, कुत्ते के ऊपर से गाड़ी चला दो, बच्चे को रेप कर लो, ऑल बंच्ड इन टुगेदर, ऑल बंच्ड इन टुगेदर. तो मैं ये कह रही हूँ, लेकिन लिटरेट, completely conscious, literate, educated people also rape.
There must be a psychotic break in there, like वो जो सब कुछ सीखा है शऊर में जो दाखिल हुआ है वो somehow override हो जाता है.
Power ना.
Sexual urges से. Power का नशा.
Power है. If I wasn't seen, or I was neglected, or I was abused, or if I'm feeling small. और मर्दों के साथ ही बहुत बड़ी एक चीज़ है, एक मसला है. मर्दों का मर्द और मर्द की खैरत. मैं उसकी औरत को उठा लूँगा, मैं उस बच्चे और कुछ नहीं, मैं किसी और पे अगर अपनी ताकत नहीं इस्तेमाल कर सकता, मैं मर्द हूँ तो मैं इस बच्चे पे इस्तेमाल कर सकता हूँ. ये बच्चा जो है, दिस बच्चा विल मेक मी फील स्ट्रांग, दिस बच्चा विल मेक मी फील पावरफुल. तो व्हाट इज दिस नीड दैट मेन हैव, दिस नीड टू फील पावर? व्हाट इज दिस रिलेशनशिप, यू टेल मी, बिटवीन मेन एंड पावर?
I sometimes think it's a hormonal testosterone-based thing. Like, I mean, if you look at most jails are filled with men. Most high-risk jobs are also filled with men.
Most wars have been initiated by men.
By men. All the rockets look like penises.
Yeah.
So it's like, dal hai.
And they're shooting up into the cosmos. And this, and most, and I'm not saying women are not involved in sexual abuse. Women are. But most sexual abuse cases are men. तो ये क्या है, ये क्या बात क्या है? मैं आई एम सिटिंग हियर, मेरे साथ 3 मर्द हैं इस कमरे में, ठीक है, मैं यहाँ बैठी हुई हूँ. मुझे अगर मैं चूज करूँ कि मैं अपना एक बिकिनी में आके बैठ जाऊँ यहाँ पे, ठीक है, विल आई बी सेफ? Will I be looked at? And what about the men who are looking at me?
In this
will
room,
I be
yes.
judged?
I can guarantee.
Safe. Is it because I'm just not hot enough? What the hell? Swine. What? Why?
What's going
Why me? Honestly, though, it's. But you know what I'm saying, you know? Why does a woman has to be so careful about what she's wearing, about how she's sitting? Why? Because a woman, हम बड़ी होती हैं, trained. Even the women who are not raped, not abused. कि every man has a missile heat-seeking you.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. मैं बाहर जाती हूँ, मैं अपना सर ढांकती हूँ automatically in the streets here. Yeah. I have been so conditioned. Even when I'm walking in England, I'm careful, you know, about how I dress. And my friends are telling me, relax, chill out, you know. Even if it's only if there's all women, am I relaxed? My body language changes if a man enters. So, you know, which is why women like Mathira, when I saw your interview, I was like, wow.
You respect to her.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. Hell's yeah. She's like, I don't give a shit. Kar lo jo karna hai. Yeah. And I think that's awesome because I consider myself nadar today. Today, आज की जो नादिया है वो नडर है, लेकिन ये नडर नादिया भी कंडीशन इतनी हुई हुई है कि when I walk out, I just always, you know, I cover my body. I protect my body.
Yeah.
And that is, I protect my body because I'm assuming there's danger out there. But then there's, you know, also there's, you know, that lovely, that jo motorcycle, that amazing woman, Rosie Gabriel.
She's traveling around. Yeah.
Nadar.
But usko bhi ye ek issue tha. When I met her once in Nadia Gali, and she was saying, what's up with the men staring? And I was like,
yaar, wo to men, yahan ke men.
I hope I'm not including in that group.
No,
because I'm not staring.
No, but yahan ke men stare at men.
Yeah, they do.
I am so conscious of my daughter, you know, about men giving her affection. I'm like, all my red flags, all my radars go on, you know. Maybe a really nice, sweet, friendly gentleman in a shop is like, kaisi ho? And I'm like, red flags, red flags, red flags. Keep her away, you know. And I think that's not good. And I'm trying to, because I don't want her to grow up frightened. But I also do want her to grow up knowing that, they're out there. The predators are out there. And it's in our DNA. हम औरतों के तो DNA में है किसी level तक. Which is why I respected that interview so much. हमारी conditioning तो पैदा होने से पहले ही सदियों से है हमारे जिस्म में. कि मर्द औरत के साथ कर क्या सकता है.
Yeah. But if you look at insaniyat in general, like not separate from the animal kingdom, and if you look at how they operate, mard within the animal kingdom, there's a lot of forceful stuff. Like if you look at lions, वो एक बड़े lion को beat करता है, and then सारी लड़कियाँ उसकी हो जाती हैं, and then they follow him as well. So there's the sort who kind of give in to patriarchy. Then there's this very strange example. They say that men are more jealous and more possessive than women. I mean, generally, okay? And the general part of it comes in because you want to carry your genetic material forward, and आपको नहीं पता कि वो आपका बेटा है कि नहीं. कभी भी नहीं आपको पता क्योंकि उनके पेट में है. लेकिन so if at any point in time she's alone with another man, like red flag. What if that guy takes my womb? That's my womb, So there's that ownership thing. But a woman always knows that it's her baby because it's in her stomach. So it's her genetic material. And if we look at it from that evolutionary perspective, तो फिर ये भी होता है कि ये भी maybe that's the case. There's so many strange.
There is, I mean, and listen, let me tell you, औरतें भी बहुत possessive और jealous हो सकती हैं.
I've experienced it myself as well.
I mean, and when women go wild, वो level ही और है. Possessive or jealousy. I'm talking specifically about the physical harm a man can inflict upon a child or woman. I'm specifically talking about the physical harm. But emotional damage, तो men and women can damage each other equally, emotionally. अरे भाई हमारे ड्रामे देखो अगर तो मैं कहती हूँ कि
we're waiting for that slap. The guy slaps the woman. We're waiting for it.
I mean, and I'm watching this drama आजकल. And I'm actually watching it to think, and I'm thinking, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. So I'm helping it in its TR goddamn piece. And वो उसको यूं पकड़ रहा है, उसको यूं मरोड़ रहा है. तुम मुझसे शादी करोगी, यूं मैं नहीं करना चाहती. और वो उसके बाप को मार दिया, उसको जेल में बंद कर दिया, ये कर दिया, वो कर दिया. Evil laugh हो रही है. At every level, that drama is a goddamn cliche. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, please, because he's saying, ek din tum mujhse mohabbat karogi. And I'm like, please, no. Is there going to be a twist? Is he going to sort of, be killed or maimed or,
or will she become a slave?
She's already a slave.
Oh.
But I mean, she's already a slave because he has forcefully married her.
But she doesn't love him.
She hates him. She hates him.
So she's not a slave just yet.
Well,
a worshipping kind. We need the worshipping kind.
She can't stand the man. How can she worship him when she doesn't stand him? She can't stand him.
That'll be the twist. I don't know where it goes.
Why? And what is the need for our writers, our directors, our producers who know that we are a nation of mob mentality. कि जिथे ले जाओ उथे, wherever you drag us, we will happily go.
But अगर वो villain दिखा रहे हैं इसको, how do you think this affects society? Because I often wonder, क्योंकि generally जो दिखा रहे होते हैं कि अगर औरत को मार रहा है एक मर्द, तो वो evil ही दिखाया जाता है. तो इखलाकी तौर पे तो आपको यही हिदायत दी जा रही है ना.
और थप्पड़ तो हीरो मार देता है अक्सर. पाकिस्तानी ड्रामों में हीरो का औरत को थप्पड़ मार देना नॉर्मल है. या ये
खलील साहब का ड्रामा जो था मेरे पास तुम हो, नहीं अब उसके अंदर आप मुझे बताएं कि एक औरत बेवफाई की दिखाई गई है. There are a lot of men who do this as well, and I'm sure there are women who are also करती हैं सोसाइटी के अंदर, बेवफाई हो जाती है. There's a lot of types of people now depicting that and a woman as a villain. Why was it इतना क्या मसला था उस चीज के अंदर? Did you see the drama?
I did see the drama, and I this is where I have to, my base nature comes out. I watch them all. I need a lobotomy done as well. But the thing that they had to kill Humayun Saeed off at the end to justify his love for the cheater woman. And the thing is, you show this often, the woman forgiving the man and the woman taking him back, and he's changed, he's new, he's, you know, never going to do that again. Abhi there was that, I mean, not that, there's so many Feroz Khan dramas in which he is, you know, changed and reformed after.
Very good looking man.
They're all very good looking, by the way. There's good looking men, good looking girls.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous, all of them. Mashallah. All of them are, and some really awesome acting I'm seeing as well, by the way. Acting chops are out, you know, looks are good. Sometimes some of them the men use too much gel in their hair sometimes. And I really would like them to know that you will look more believable if when you're weeping and crying and flailing yourself around, you don't have that. Something really about nice Mary. Haircut. Yeah. Something about Mary. Oh my God. That scene is happening.
This is too much scene. That reference is too funny. But I often wondered, like with this Khalil-ur-Rehman thing, because I didn't see the drama is that problematic. उसके बाद जब खलील साहब के जो अपने बयानात आते थे न्यूज़ चैनल्स के ऊपर, तो उनके अंदर मुझे एक ज़रा थोड़ी, एक तो उनकी अपनी खुद परस्ती भी मुझे महसूस होती थी, क्योंकि वो तो डायरेक्टली मिसोजिनी की तरफ जाती थी ना, तो दैट वाज लाइक कि आपकी अपनी राय, लेकिन किरदार के पीछे क्या आप बात कर रहे हो, वो तो उसमें तो
एंड में तो हमने ड्रामा, देखो एंड में तो हमने ड्रामा ही देख रहे हैं ना, व्हाटएवर इट इज, व्हाटएवर द misogyny and patriarchy behind the writers, whoever, whether they're male writers or female writers, patriarchy को तो सभी आगे बढ़ा रहे होते हैं. There's some really good dramas I've seen. फसी बारी खान का एक था, obviously then Sinf Ahan was very, you know,
I haven't seen that. I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah. But there's a lot of dramas. In fact, I like the one with Feroz Khan and Ushna Shah. Yeah, in which again she's standing up to him. I think I want to understand that in real life in Pakistan, our women are not like that. हमारी औरतें इतनी खामोश नहीं हैं. किसी भी शादीशुदा अपने भाइयों से पूछ लें, दोस्तों से पूछ लें, हमारी क्या,
he agrees. He's like, ऐसा नहीं है, बिल्कुल
खामोश तो नहीं है हमारी खवातीन, हमारी खवातीन खामोश नहीं है ना, हमारी खवातीन बेचारियां भी नहीं है. वो उनका मर्द उनको कुछ कहेगा, वो 2 टोक वापस जवाब देंगी. उनकी सास उनको कुछ कहेगी, वो 3 टोक कुछ जवाब देंगी. बहुत मैंने कम ऐसी आजकल के ज़माने में. दूसरा जो ये है ना सती का रिवाज, जो हमारा कभी था ही नहीं, this is something very star plus.
सती तो वो क्या जला देना अगर हस्बैंड मार गया.
But this whole, you know, सती सवित्री kind of thing ना, this whole star plus से borrowed एक रोल जो है ना औरत का. वरना हमारी जो सीना मुइन की, you know, मेन औरतें
बिल्कुल धूप किनारे, तन्हाइयाँ.
What is can we come back to Pakistani women? Can we come back to the reality that is Pakistani women? You know, and the woman जो जिसकी जुबान चलती है, the woman जो कि आज डॉक्टर भी है, you know, वकील भी है, इंजीनियर भी है, फौज में है, you know, हर किस्म का काम कर रही है, घर में बच्चों को भी अगर पाल रही है और सिर्फ उसके अलावा कुछ काम नहीं कर रही, अगर होम मेकर है तब भी उसकी जुबान है और वो अपनी राय और अपनी आवाज़ को सुनाती है. It's not a repressed voice anymore, generally, you know. यहाँ तक कि, you know, even in the villages when you go, women are strong. They're opinionated, they're strong, they're, you know, they're powerful.
Yeah.
And I think our women are strong, our women are incredible. And patriarchy abuses them. Because remember, you can be a strong woman and be abused. The patriarchy does abuse them. And our systems do abuse them. Our feudalism abuses them.
Yeah.
And that feudal culture is in the cities as well.
Yeah. Well, all hierarchy of power is almost like sort of abusive.
Yeah.
उसके अंदर अगर टॉप पे कोई बंदा बैठा हुआ है जो ऑर्डर्स दे सकता है तो वो फिर उसके वक्त होता है. But somehow men seem to form this like the richest people in the world. मतलब सबसे टॉप पे आपके मर्द ही हैं और उनकी फिर बीवियां हैं टॉप रिचेस्ट, so it's like वो उसने wealth बनाई. And then it's almost there's that biological thing of, you know, even if you have passion and motivation किसी काम के लिए, there'll be a point where you want to have kids and there your career goes down.
That's absolutely. And khair, I did that. I, you know, was at that turning point where Bollywood and offers and I chose to take care of my kids. But I think I did it really consciously thinking about it. And I come from a family where my mother was horrified. I come from a family where marriage was not encouraged. शादी क्यों करना चाहती हूँ? And I was 29 when I got married, you know. तो my नानी was like, दुल्हन के मुंह पे झुर्रियाँ हैं, खुदा के वास्ते इसको करने दो. But I think अगर आप पूछें कि unfortunately कितनी पाकिस्तानी औरतों ने थप्पड़ खाया हुआ है अपने मियाँ से या अपने भाई से या अपने बाप से, तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा तादाद काफ़ी ज़्यादा होगी. और ये है वो बात कि अंदर से हमारा जज्बा जितना भी मजबूत हो, अंदर से हमारा शऊर कितना भी मजबूत हो, हमने आदमी को एक दर्जा दिया हुआ है कि वो हम थप्पड़ खा लेते हैं. ठीक है, खा लिया, एक ही बार मारा मुझे, एक ही बार मारा, दांत टूट गया, लेकिन उसके बाद नहीं मारा. हाँ नहीं, मेरा तो बड़ा अच्छा है, सिर्फ 1-2 बार थप्पड़, वो भी बड़ा उसके बाद सॉरी किया.
गिल्ट थी कम से कम.
हाँ. तो ये हमारी अपनी सेल्फ वर्थ का मसला है. जो पेट्रियार्की जो है वो हमारी सेल्फ वर्थ हमसे काफ़ी हद तक छीन लेती है. और सेकंड गेसिंग, मुझे करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए. मैंने बहुत कम ये चीज़ें सुनी हैं. हाँ, मैं काम करता हूँ, मैं कैमरामैन हूँ, मैं डायरेक्टर हूँ, मैं डीओपी हूँ, लेकिन मैं बाप ही हूँ. मैं अपने बच्चों का भी ख्याल रखता हूँ, लेकिन मैं अपने बच्चों का भी ख्याल रखता हूँ. ये सफाई मैंने किसी आदमी को देते हुए तो नहीं सुनी कि मैं बहुत अच्छा बाप भी हूँ. लेकिन अक्सर आप सुनते हैं, हाँ मैं लॉयर हूँ या मैं डॉक्टर हूँ, लेकिन मैं अपने बच्चों का भी बहुत ख्याल रखती हूँ, मैं घर का भी बहुत ध्यान रखती हूँ. ये सफाई हमें फ़ौरन देनी पड़ती है कि अ रियल वुमन, यू नो. आई थिंक ये चीज़ें टाइम लगेगा इनको.
I mean, stereotypes, I often wonder, I don't know if you're familiar with Asim Abbasi's work. He's done Chudails and he's done this.
I've seen Chudails, yeah.
What amazing.
Yeah.
But I think the 2-3 top list ke andar, he's number 1 for me as a director, writer in Pakistan. Or Pakistani, I think he lives abroad. But his thing was, so you've got the stereotype, जो generally आपको ड्रामों में नज़र आ रहा है. वो, you know, the disenfranchised woman, the बेचारी औरत जो दिखाई जाती है, वो स्टीरियोटाइप आप जब दिखाते हो तो आप बार बार रीइंफोर्स करते हो उस चीज़ को. अब चुड़ैल का जो हमारी मिथोलॉजी है, इट्स यू नो लिंक्ड विद ऑल ऑफ दीज. आवारा औरत चुड़ैल होती है, जिसकी अबॉर्शन होगी वो चुड़ैल होती है. ऑल ऑफ दीज मिथोलॉजीज के वो एक मर्द को लेके जाती है सेक्सुअली सेड्यूस करके कहीं और ड्रेन्स ऑल हिज पावर्स, यू नो, एंड देन ही कम्स बैक ऑल लाइक पतला होके आता है वापस, you know, like, so an attractive woman, a woman who's sexually free, a woman who will have an abortion, which is horrible. These are the sort of women who are mythologically called chudails. So he takes that term and he rewires the whole stereotype around it. Yeah. And the anti-establishment sort of, the new stereotype is now introduced. But he also grays it so much कि उसके अंदर like there's this Sarmat Khusat plays this role, it's a homosexual role, and he's dancing very cutely with his partner and his wife catches him. The next thing they saw show, उसने उसकी निहारी बना दी and she's having the nihari. And I'm like, okay, so it's not, he's not saying men are right, women are wrong. He's saying disease exists everywhere, like this bimari exists everywhere.
He's just turning the stereotype.
Yeah, and he's flipping it around.
Yeah.
So the trope is now flipped around.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a bit of it.
So is that important, I wonder, like, or do you keep saying the same bichari aurat? How does that affect society?
I think what I want to see in cinema in Pakistan especially, but even in our plays, first I'd like to see some real stories. Because you don't even need to go that far. Our real stories are shocking. Shocking.
Yeah.
In the homes. Our women are amazing. Our men are, I mean, there's some crazy ass stories in real life. But I also want to see, go a step further. If you want to twist things around, I want us to be able to make a film, and I'm talking specifically about films more so than dramas right now, where we're not concerned about turning stereotypes upside down. We're concerned about the story. And the story and the characters are so, the power in that. The literature, the story. I mean, which is why I liked Kamli. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. I liked Kamli because it wasn't about turning stereotypes upside down. It did do that. But it didn't aim to do that. It told a story. And I think that all powerful cinema and all powerful stories, they work when you're not trying to preach or just, it's really shallow at that level, but actually trying to tell a story. And I'm not saying it's not important. I think it's important, these programs that turn cliches upside down or stereotypes upside down, they are important because they open doors. They open doors for other kinds of stories to be told, Churails has opened a whole new, lots of stuff has opened up after it. But I think what I want to see is when you are honest to the story and when you're really feeling the story. And that's when exciting cinema happens. When it's not about what the woman does or the role of women in society or how women can be as bad or good or whatever as men or kinky as men. Or it's not. It's about the story. And the story is about the characters, what drives them, the way it's shot, the way it's told, the way it's lit, the way it's edited, the sounds. When that whole thing comes together and you have this thing that blows your mind and you're sitting in the cinema saying, whoa, ye kya hua hai mere saath? And I think that we're there. I mean, we're getting there, we're reaching these really powerful places in the visual arts and in the performing arts. It's really exciting. Sarmad's work is so exciting.
Saim, have you seen Saim's work?
Saim's work. Saim himself, he himself, I haven't seen Joyland, but I've heard about it.
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen his other work. Yeah.
Yes.
Some of it is on YouTube.
Yeah. And he's such a, and this enterprise, I mean, I remember when I met Saim, it was for the Joseph Colony, the film that he made on the minorities, on being a Christian in Pakistan. And when you're looking for stories that out of real life, or even, or creating it. I mean, say I have a story in my head that I've been wanting to write forever. And then I stopped writing it because I was in the middle of writing it. And first Killing Eve happened. And then Churails happened. And I was like, okay, too much of this is stop. No, actually, meri story bhi nahi hui. Because it's the way it's told. So my story, it's not just about a woman who kills. It's the way it's told. It's the, there's that, I was very influenced by the magic realism of
Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Most South American, writers. Lorca, Marquez, Allende. And so there's that. And also, I'll allow the trippiness of things. And what I'm interested in exploring is our middle class, stories coming out of our middle class and juxtaposed with something else, mad and kinky and crazy.
मैं तो फिल्म लग रही हो ना, कोई बंदा शुरू में अगर ईंट पकड़ के किसी का सर फाड़ दे, मैं कहता यार चैनल ना चेंज करी.
नहीं, I'm not.
I'm like,
it doesn't excite me. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't. I think because I've seen it in real life.
I just go like, what is this twisted stuff going on?
I don't find it because I think
Magical realism.
No, not just magical realism. I think gore doesn't unnerve me. The youngest baby that I buried with my own hands, who was sodomized, was 6 months. The youngest baby I know. Yeah, 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. The youngest baby I know who was raped.
How does that make any sense?
The youngest, listen to this, the youngest baby who I know of that was raped was 3 days. It was in Belfast. I'm not gore. Like if someone's eye has been poked out by a pen, nothing. When you read the article, where these little kids are sitting back confidently and talking about their, how they deal with everyday rape, and with a smile on their face, just giggling about it, laughing about it, and talking about how they are going to do it when they're older. Planning it out.
अच्छा ये भी होता है?
Strategize. ये I told you ना, मैंने coal miner नहीं बनना, मैंने truck driver बनना है.
ताकि मैं बड़ा होके यही करूं.
मैं यूं रेप करूं. मैं उस तरह ना रेप करूं जिस तरह coal miners रेप करते हैं. मैं उस तरह रेप करूं जिस तरह truck driver रेप करता है.
अच्छा जी.
When you work with kids, and this is not, when you see the world through their eyes, when you see a 5-year-old, as a 6-year-old, right now I'm working with, whose entire family was shot in front of him by his uncle over land. He was hiding under the charpai. He saw everybody being killed, hacked, shot. Man. He saw their bodies being buried.
Tawba.
There's nothing shocks or surprises. So I think that's why I need to move into magic realism, because
you need to escape from reality. You already get enough of it.
Reality does not frighten me or scare me or excite me. And I don't get thrills out of it, because
मैं कई दफा सोचता हूँ मुझे क्यों होती है वो थ्रिल. like there's this one of my favorite directors, David Fincher,
वो
7 फिल्म आई है, is like 7 deadly sins पे murder कर रहा है. मैं कहता हूँ वो Kevin Spacey था उसमें भी.
Even Stephen King, for example, my brother loves Stephen King.
The Shining उसी ने लिखी थी.
Yeah, Shining तो खैर level है.
मैं उसी तरह की फिल्मों की बात कर रहा हूँ.
Shining level है. What was it?
Here's Johnny.
No, the twins. Rum Red. The murder when it was written ulta.
Red Rum.
Oof. Yeah, and then Jack Nicholson. Level. Who would our equivalent of Jack Nicholson be?
I used to think Salman Taseer looked a lot like Jack Nicholson, but he's not an actor. So in that equivalence, no.
Actors की बात कर रहे हैं.
उसमें नहीं. लेकिन Salman uncle looked like Jack Nicholson a lot. वही बड़ा माथा ना.
That smile.
That smile. लेकिन people really want to be the hero. So nobody really wants to show the ugly side. Like Jack Nicholson wasn't afraid of that. Like Shining में वो hero कहीं से भी नहीं है.
And his face, just that face, Nimra Bucha.
Definitely, she's also in Chudez.
Yeah,
she is amazing.
And she's amazing in that.
She was amazing in Miss Marvel as well.
I enjoyed some of the really fun commercial stuff that Fasih Bari Khan has done.
He's done Kadusi Saab ki Beva wale hain.
Yeah, love that.
Oof.
I love Bulbule.
I love Bulbule too.
It doesn't have to be, arty or intense. If you're honest, it'll show. If I sense a little bit of fakeness or a little bit of in the acting or in the script or in the accent, I don't go there. Then I can't watch it. I put it off. Abroad के मुल्कों में मेरी for example एक जानने वाली है who is actually knows people जो के it's a foreign like a religion Wicca, witches and warlocks.
हाँ, अमेरिका में मैं बड़ा एस्टॉनिश हुआ था कि मैं एक मॉल के अंदर फिर रहा हूँ और वहाँ पे वो विचेस की दुकान है, कमर्शियल दुकान है, और उधर वो आपको ब्रूम्स मिल रहे हैं और वो डड्डू की आंख बनी हुई है और वो फिर वो आपको कॉल्ड्रन भी मिल रहा है जिसके अंदर आप अपने वो जादू मिक्स कर सकते हैं. एंड पीपल बिलीव इट. और वो पत्थर भी ले रहे होते हैं और वो इतना कमर्शलाइज्ड है कि वो प्रोडक्ट्स बनाए हुए उन्होंने.
Very strange. Having said that, the thought of Kaala Jaadu makes me a bit like because I do believe in it.
अच्छा, I try not to. You do? मैं सोचता अभी मेरे दोस्त है उसके कमरे में से एक तावीज़ निकली,
फिर उसकी
बेटी के कमरे में से तावीज़ निकली,
फिर तो
माँ बाप ने कहा ये क्या कर रही है यहाँ पे. फिर अब वो तावीज़ जो थी वो एक लोहे की चीज़ में थी बंद. उनने वो खोला तो उसके अंदर एक लौंग था, एक उसके अंदर कोई नंबर्स लिखे हुए थे और फिर एक आयत उल्टी लिखी हुई थी. या उल्टी लिखी हुई थी या किसी और जुबान में लिखी थी क्योंकि पढ़ी नहीं जा रही थी और लग रहा था अरबी है, और बीच में सैफरॉन और हाँ और रुई, एंड ये 4 चीज़ें उसमें से निकली और उनकी किसी अलमारी के पीछे गिरी हुई थी और उन्होंने डिस्कवर की, और फिर वो उनको हो रहा था कि कौन अंदर है, किसने ये किया, ये प्रोटेक्शन के लिए है, न्यूमरोलॉजी टाइप ना, नंबर्स भी थे बहुत से,
बिल्कुल।
तो आई डोंट नो, आई मीन मैंने कहा यार डोंट गिव इट एनी अटेंशन, जितना तुम सोचोगे उतने पागल हो जाओ।
बिल्कुल, दिस इज समथिंग आई एग्री कि
फेंक दो,
जिन्नात हो या ये हो, इट्स लाइक if you're walking in, if you're shopping in Al-Fatah, you won't stop and make eye contact with people. You know, you won't do that. Why the hell would you? When you talk about these things, you're sort of stopping and making eye contact with them. Yeah. But having said that, I'm petrified of one thing. लोगों की बुरी नज़र से मैं घबराती हूँ. And this is something that I have told myself that if I believe in God, if I say my 2 kuls, I either believe कि मैंने कुल पढ़ लिए हैं, अब मैंने तवक्कुल में या I believe कि I am protected or I continue doubting. तो अभी recently now I'm putting a lot of pictures of my baby girl on the net, and my boys have come up to me and said नज़र लग जाएगी, नज़र लग जाएगी, and that has made me sort of stop. अच्छा,
the boys are saying it.
My kids are saying, do you believe in नज़र?
I think कुछ तो होता है. कोई नज़र आपकी तरफ से क्या? Do you believe in काला जादू and everything?
Look, I believe that I don't know things.
नफरत से आता होगा ना ये? नफरत जाड़े सारी चीजें.
नफरत क्यों होती है किसी से?
मुझे तो नहीं होती, मैं तो बड़ा चिल्ड आउट आदमी हूँ. लोग कहते हैं like but I hate.
मैं भी बहुत पोस्ती सी खातून हूँ, मुझे कभी नहीं हुई, कभी नफरत नहीं हुई. Not even to the people who abused me. होनी जहाँ के होनी चाहिए मुझे. I just block them out.
You got to blame something though. Like I mean, I was going to come back to the blame thing as well. Like you were saying, इल्जाम लगाना बेवकूफ़ी चीज़ है, लेकिन उससे सारी समाज में रूल्स हम सेट करते हैं ना कि अगर मैंने ट्रैफिक लाइट तोड़ी तो मेरी गलती है, इल्जाम मेरे पे है, तो अब तू पैसे देगा मेरी गाड़ी को तोड़ने के लिए.
I have 3 kids. हाँ. 2 foster as well, 5 kids. Of them, my 2 biological sons are now teenagers, and they are the ones who I've really raised at an everyday level. I am accountable. I am to be blamed for the many ways in which I must have affected my children badly by wrong decisions that I've made. I am to be blamed. But I tell my older one who's now 20, beta, now the buck is, now it's you. Huh. Whatever I did, however I messed you up, I can offer you amazing life coaches, therapists, facilitators, and to sort yourself out. But to sort your mental health out, to sort your happiness out, to sort your, it's now on you. And the same with me. I think when I was a little girl, my parents must have been really trusting and leaving me with, staff members, which is why it started. When I was 17, it was a boy in college. But I think for a long time, I blamed my parents. And my parents apologized. They asked for forgiveness. And I forgave them because it was not, my parents loved me so much. And इतने मुझे उन्होंने प्यार से, मोहब्बत से पाला है. But ये एक कोताही हो गई कि उनके वहमो गुमान भी नहीं था कि कोई इंसान जिनकी वो इज्जत करते हों किसी बच्चे के साथ ये कर सकता है. And हम मुझे और मेरे भाई को तो हमें, खैर I should mention myself, I don't know if he wants to be named, but we were both hung upside down from the top story of our house with the pavement underneath in London. Really gory things. And I think my parents,
what
by
for?
our ankles, just by sadistic people. And I think that
these were
staff members.
Yeah.
And I think my parents were so innocent and so young that when they had us, that people will treat children like this. And I think for the longest time, I was angry and really blamed. And देखो, how daughters का जिस तरह होता है, I never blame my dad. I always blame my mother. हालांकि both of them were my parents. But I was daddy's girl. And then जब मेरा cancer हुआ, तो my mother was the one person. My mother and my little boy were the 2. With COVID, my older one couldn't come because he was stuck in Pakistan. And that's when my mother and I really built our relationship, because she was there with me for 8-9 months when I was really sick. And it's such a relief to be able to move on and see how much she loved me and accept all the goodness that she's given to me instead of be fixated on those years that I was hurt. तो अब देखो, अगर मैं ब्लेम करती रहती अपने वालिदैन को तो मेरे में सिर्फ दुख ही होना था. Understanding why it happened, understanding के you know
रिडेम्पशन भी तो होनी चाहिए ना इस पूरी सिचुएशन के अंदर.
And shit happens, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
और ये भी मुझसे पूछा गया, you know, I was asked that if I want to report the people who abused me. And the people who abused me when I was a little girl are dead. They were Pakistani staff members. The young man who abused me when I was at Lakas.
College times.
Really brutal, ugly abuse is a banker in London. And sometimes wonder, you know, the person asked me that, do you want to file report against him? And because the abuse happened in Pakistan, so we can't really do anything, but we can send a social worker to make sure he's not doing it.
You can name and shame.
And then I thought, iska fayda. Name or shame ka fayda. And you have to look at the ecology of things. Now I've got two boys. How much will... Already they're like, please, mama, don't talk about your abuse. People come up to us, you know, they're, you know, Ejasonian type boys. Oh, tumhari maan ko ye hua tha. And I want for them to be able to say with pride, मेरी माँ के साथ ये नहीं हुआ था. मेरी माँ survived this and is an amazing, strong woman despite this. And you know, and if they get, you know, my younger one has said that.
Yeah.
They're getting there to that place. I want my boys and my daughter to feel proud of the fact that I can talk about what happened to me, to show other people कि यार इसके आगे जिंदगी है. This does not have to be the end all.
Yeah.
And the depression and the shame that comes with it.
The shame that comes, yeah.
इसको भी आप that can also be moved, finished, deleted from your life.
Yeah.
And that is the only reason why, you know, otherwise it's over. For me, what happened when I was young, it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
I'm having...
आगे वाले लोगों के साथ जब होगा ना, I mean, it's also like, I mean, in HSN, I have seen the toxic masculinity, and I'm trying to understand what your son is possibly going through, because they will pick on the thing that hurts you. So, like, मेरे साथ क्या करते थे, माँ की गाली देते थे. शुरू में मैं तप जाता था, मेरी माँ के बारे में ये ना कहे. फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता मैं उससे मैं ओके हो गया, मुझे वो डिसेंसिटाइज हो गया. बहन की देते थे, मैं कहता मेरी बहन के बारे में ये ना बोल. Then they found out my mother's name. So whenever you get hurt, they feel good.
Yeah. You see,
because वो razzing है, वो taking करनी है उन्हें.
Up, for example, with me, really, I mean, I find it so boring. Toxic masculinity, it's so boring. Yeah. And I find anger and the need to show strength and power boring. And
to prey on the weak.
Yes, boring and painful. But also boring. And I think those men are boring. And they're growing to, those young men who need to do that are going to grow up into extremely boring men.
But they reinforce this whole shit.
They do. And it's also, I mean, I think toxic masculinity to khair is reinforced everywhere, even on our dramas. Which is why, you know, anything that shows women is exciting. As the but you don't, I'm more interested in seeing.
So how do you, like, I mean, the thing is that I had it in me. When I came out of HSN, मेरे अंदर भर दी थी उन्होंने toxic masculinity. I had to kind of slowly get rid of it. Like,
it never really goes.
It's still in me. It's still in me.
It never really goes.
It never really goes.
It's like the demon inside you.
When I meet a Khaja Sira, there's 6 pejorative terms that the toxic masculine man inside me says. कि इसको ये कह, इसको ये कह, इसको ये कह, but it never let him come to my mouth.
Are you Estonian?
I'm Estonian. 12 years it's. You also taught me in Estonian for a bit.
Oh my God. You see, I mean, anyway, I just think for me, I want my boys, wherever they are. And I've met a lot of amazing Hsonians now. You know, there's a lot of absolutely incredible Hsonians who I've taught, you know, who I've seen come out of it. Ali Sethi ho, Salman Toor ho, ye Abbas, Sayyid Abbas Hussain ho. There's a lot of young, really amazing young men who I meet and know who've come out of there. So things are changing absolutely. And my dad is Hsoni, and he's one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. But my brother, who is one of the staunchest feminists I've ever met in my life. And but I think, coming back to my own kids, I want for them, there's a word we use a lot, survivor. मुझे पता नहीं इस लफ्ज़ से टेंशन होती है. Aren't you proud of being a survivor? Cancer survivor, rape survivor. Fuck no. I'm a thriver. I have survived that long time ago. I am way more than a survivor. I am thriving in my life. I'm not just surviving, and I don't want to be referred to as a survivor. And I think for me, the way we talk about abuse, the way we talk about rape, इज्जत लूटना, you know, ज़्यादती, whatever.
हाँ, इज्जत लूट ली. हाँ, ये टर्म वैसे मैंने पहले इस तरह नहीं सोचा कि इज्जत लूट ली. किस तरह लूटी जा सकती है?
मेरी इज्जत किस तरह लूटी? किस तरह? किसने, मतलब हेलो, मेरी इज्जत तो, मेरी इज्जत से इज्जत क्या, मैं शानदार हो गई हूँ. मैं शानदार हो गई हूँ अपनी नज़रों में, क्योंकि मेरा तो वो कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सका, या वो ग्रुप, ऑल ऑफ देम कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सके. तो मुझे अपने आप पे फ़ख्र होता है, मुझे अपने आप पे फ़ख्र होता है कि मैंने उस बच्ची को संभाला, मैंने उस डरी हुई सहमी हुई बच्ची को संभाला, पाला, उसको हिम्मत दी, और मैं आज जो भी हूँ, मैं एक अच्छी इंसान हूँ, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा प्यार से भरी हुई इंसान हूँ. आप किसी को भी मेरे सामने रख दें, यकीनन मैं 100% यकीन करती हूँ कि मैं ढूंढ लूँगी कोई ना कोई तरीका, बुरे से बुरे इंसान जो बुरी से बुरी हरकतें हों, टू फाइंड अ वे टू लव दैट पर्सन, बिकॉज आई नो अ पर्सन is not all of their actions. I can even find a way to love the person who abused me if given an opportunity. There is, I choose love. It is a choice. It is a conscious choice here. I choose to love. It's not like a cheesy, It is something that actually I actively do. And I respect now people's boundaries, because I used to be one of those psychos who's, can I love you? I want to give love. Love. And people were like, dude, that's like, no, thank you. And I'm learning now that there are ways and ways and ways for me to love myself, which is the most important, because that was the one place that I had neglected, and love anybody and everybody in my circumference of, you know, it's nice. It's really nice to be in a place where you choose positivity. You choose, this is a line, and on this side of the line is pain. Pain and humiliation and shame and poverty. And on this side of the line is peace and power and confidence and respect. And here's a pendulum. I decide na which way I'm looking. आप गाड़ी चला रहे हैं, घोड़ा चला रहे हैं, और बहुत तंग गली हो, पहाड़ है, ठीक है, जो आर यू राइडर,
गाड़ी तो चलाता हूँ,
तो तंग गली है, नीचे खाई है पत्थरों से भरी हुई, ठीक है, अब आप गाड़ी चला रहे हैं, अब आप कहाँ देखेंगे और अपने स्टीयरिंग व्हील को किस तरफ रखेंगे?
उसकी तरफ ही रखेंगे.
अगर आप नीचे की तरफ देखें तो क्या होगा?
मुझे तो वर्टिगो है, तो I'll get pulled in. मुझे तो गिरने का दिल करता है.
If you don't have vertigo either, if you're not looking up,
तो उधर ही आप चले जाएं.
So every time जब आप अपनी जिंदगी के बारे में बात करते हैं, ये कहना कि I don't want to be weak, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be ashamed, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be struggling. your subconscious mind is what? If I tell you right now, Mooroo, and you know this, you've heard of this, I know you've heard of this a million times, कि जो भी हो, जो मर्जी है दुनिया में कर लो. Right now, do whatever you want, but don't think of a blue elephant. Just don't think of it. What is your subconscious mind?
I'm thinking of a blue elephant already.
Already. So your subconscious mind does not understand a negative, right? So every time you're telling yourself, don't think of a blue elephant, don't think of a blue elephant, the blue elephant is out there. Don't be scared, don't be poor, don't be overweight,
resentful.
Don't be resentful, don't be angry, don't be depressed.
Yeah.
What is your subconscious mind picking up? Resentful, angry, depressed, scared, struggling. So what do you do instead?
Be this. Don't say don't be this, you say let's be this. And don't think of what you don't want to be.
Yes. And that's the language which in NLP, which is, so in January I did my NLP practitioner course, and then recently I graduated as a master practitioner.
MashaAllah.
And I have to say, Alia Muhyiddin is one of the most fantastic teachers on this planet. But it's really helped me understand what I want to be looking at. Park that. What I want to be looking at. That's what Alia says. Now park that. What do I want to be looking at? Where am I looking? Where am I going? Yahan tak ke I learned I need intimacy. I need love. What do I actually need? Oxygen. मुझे एक बात बता, how many days can you live without food?
If I have good fat reserves, maybe like 3 days, which I don't have any fat reserves these days. But
how many days can you live without food?
I think 3, 4, 5 days maybe.
5 days? How many days can you live without water?
Oh, food is it's water. Water is a separate thing. पानी के बगैर तो मेरे ख्याल से वही 3-4 दिन ही बनते हैं.
3-4 दिन?
मुश्किल है 2 दिन भी शायद.
2 दिन? हाँ. How many days can you live without sleep?
4-5 दिन. वही है 4-5 दिन.
4-5 दिन.
हाँ. सोए बगैर तो 4 you could become delirious supposedly ना, अगर
4-5 दिन आप सोए बगैर फिर आप मर जाएंगे.
हाँ.
4-5 दिन खाया नहीं, आप मर जाएंगे. 2 दिन आपने पानी नहीं पिया, आप मर जाएंगे. 5 दिन 2 दिन. अब how long can you live without breathing?
Not even 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Not even.
And of these things, food, water, sleep, breath, which is the thing you give the least attention to?
Breath. It's subconscious. It's so autonomic. खुद ही हो रही है ना. Automatic.
वो तो आप सामने खाना भी टीवी के सामने खाते हैं तो ऑटोमेटिक.
हाँ, वो जब अंदर जाके खुद ही डिजेस्ट हो रहा होता है, किसी ने कुछ नहीं करना होता.
लोग अपनी डाइट के बारे में बात करते हैं, लोग खाने के बारे में बात करते हैं, लोग हाइड्रेशन के बारे में बात करते हैं, लोग नींद के बारे में. मस्ट हैव योर स्लीप, इट्स सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू हैव स्लीप. वन कॉन्वर्सेशन आई डोंट हियर इज द कॉन्वर्सेशन ऑन ब्रेथ. And I think for me, one aspect of life changed for me when I did NLP and I learned about language and how to use language to empower myself.
This is your inner narrative. How do you talk about yourself?
About yourself, about what you want to do.
Like I find myself, like if I do something wrong, like Mooroo क्या कर रहा है? उल्लू का पट्टा. अपने आप को गाली देना. That sort of language?
वो तो चलो गाली दे दो अपने आप को.
हाँ.
जायज़ है. ठीक है.
हाँ.
लेकिन ये कहना कि यार Mooroo तूने गरीब नहीं होना, या Mooroo तूने गुस्सा नहीं करना.
हाँ.
ये गलत.
जो नहीं करना उस पे फोकस ही ना करो.
Mooroo तूने करना क्या है, उस बात को सोचो ना. तुमने गाड़ी कहाँ लेके जानी है, उस बात का सोचो. वो NLP की में जो एक
कमाल,
जो एक तरीका है about talking about yourself at any given time, inner भी outer भी, talking about your goals. How do I make my goals? ये जो manifestation की बात है.
कमाल.
ठीक है.
This is a Miss Marvel line in the trailer as well that says something similar. It's like good is not something you are, it's something you do.
ये तो है, you know,
right?
बिल्कुल बज़ाहिर. And the thing is that ये तमाम बातें जो बहुत सारे लोगों ने की हुई हैं जो कि वाकई में सच हैं about manifestation, कि जाना कहाँ है, उधर देख, अपनी लैंग्वेज को उधर लेके जा. Breath की बात was the second game changer in my life, and that I learned from Art of Living.
Oh.
And I did not take it seriously. And when I started taking it seriously, it changed my life. So when you're angry, what is your breath like?
You're probably breathing faster, your heart rate goes up.
When you're really relaxed.
You're oxygenating more.
When you're really relaxed, what is it like? Really relaxed.
Much slower and deeper and longer, right?
We usually talk about our breath emulating our moods. But in actual fact, it should be the other way around. Your breath, your mood should be emulating your breath. And if you decide while you're talking, while you're walking, while you're working, if you're conscious of how you're breathing, it's a game changer. This breath of ours that we take for granted, there's a reason why that Surah Rahman is so powerful. There's a reason why we say, मेरी कौन सी नेमतों को छुटलाओगे? वो सबसे बड़ी नेमत जो है वो आप खुद हो. That I realized when I had cancer, I had no one around me, not except my mom, who I did not talk to a lot in those days. And my child, who was really amazing, but I could not pour my heart out to. किसी ने ठेका नहीं उठाया हुआ आपका. किसी ने नहीं ठेका उठाया हुआ नादिया जमील का. क्यों? नादिया जमील को कैंसर हो गया है ना, फौरन क्यों? बाप हो, भाई हो, शौहर हो, बेटा हो, दोस्त हो, कोविड है भाई, पहला लॉकडाउन है, फ्लाइट्स बंद हुई हुई हैं, सबके अपने अपने मसाइल हैं, सबकी अपनी अपनी ज़िंदगी है. एक इंसान ने मेरा ठेका उठाया हुआ है, मैंने, उसने और मैंने. सो जो मेरी एक बेस्ट फ्रेंड है, who is not going to abandon me, who is going to be there for me no matter what, who's been there for me from my first breath and will be there with me during my last, is me. So why is it that I didn't learn how to love her? And why is it I didn't know and learn how to parent her? And why is it that I didn't figure her out? So I think it's all been a lot of fun for me, learning, breathing, figuring out myself, learning the language.
And so like this whole process of you being there for yourself even.
Yeah.
This has been a gradual, slow rewiring of your personality.
जब मैं गंजी हो गई, मेरे भवें गिर गई, मेरे नाखून गिर गए, मेरे eyelashes गिर गई, और मैं देख रही थी अपने आप को, and I was like, सही है ये है. And I understood कि किस चीज़ का तुम गरूर करती हो यार. And I liked what I saw. It was the first time I liked my face, when I was bald. But I realized that this is Allah's way, or the universe's way, Allah's way of saying, strip it down, keep it simple, and figure out what it is that really matters. And what really matters is me. Because when I am able to respect myself, when I am able to say I'm worthy of learning, I will fill my body up with knowledge, and I will fill myself up with good shit. And then I'm much more useful and much more fun, and much more focused in my work. And I think one of the best things that happened as a consequence of my journeys with NLP and Art of Living.
This is the Art of Living that's in Islamabad?
Art of Living is everywhere in the world.
Yeah, but the one that's in Islam, the ashram.
Bilkul, Shanaz Appas is in.
Okay, yeah.
But Naim Zimedar, there's many people who do it over here.
Okay.
There's many teachers.
Lums mein bhi lectures dete hain.
There's many people who do it over here. But
Did you do the silence wala thing where you have to stay silent for kitne din silence
awesome.
hoti hai? अच्छा, और खाना भी अपना खुद बनाना, और
नहीं खाना, you help in it, सेवा होती है, you help make your own food and you help, but ये तो बात मुझे 17 साल की उम्र में पता चल गई थी कि सेवा में, खिदमत में कितना एक सुकून है वाकई. हाँ, लेकिन it's more than सेवा. सेवा is not enough. सेवा will take you away from yourself. But what about the time when you're alone with yourself? Then what? And I think the best thing that it did for me was it completely rid me of anger. Completely. Anger and blame. I am accountable. And I am at peace. I think